I want to know everything there is to know about you.
I am going to introduce me.
You must have spotted her by now. She's always there.
Don't I deserve love?
Somebody has to like me best.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Don't Know Her podcast. I am Scott.
And I'm Michael.
And we are back again to talk about another icon of the screen that we just would love to shout a little about. As you know, if you listened to our last episode, we're doing a little mini-series on some faces who are very, very known for their work on television, and perhaps a little less so on the big screen, but we would really, really like to see a little more of that. And hopefully by talking about some of the ones that do exist, we'll wish some more into future existence. And we're very, very lucky to be joined again by a co-host who joined us for our Sarah Michelle Gellar episode, welcoming back the fabulous Daniel Massie. How are you doing, Daniel?
I'm good, thank you, Scott. Thank you for having me again.
You are our resident TV expert.
I'll take it.
He is, non-stop, TV all the time, TV.
And which is needed in this episode because this person that we're talking about has a crazily sparse filmography or very limited roles in her filmography. As opposed to her TV work, like she has 4 Emmys, she's really celebrated, she's like reaching new heights now in her 70s, but film-wise just has never had much of an impact that way.
Yeah, it's unusual given how much at the forefront of the TV scene they are at the moment. It just feels, I guess, surprising, but maybe that's to come in future things, a few things in the pipeline. But here we are, waffling on, yet we haven't mentioned who we're actually talking about. Daniel, please tell us, who are we talking about this time round?
That would be the one and only Jean Smart.
Truly the one and only Jean Smart.
She's wonderful. And why, Daniel, did you come to us with the suggestion of Jean?
Well, it was a bit of a collaborative suggestion. Scott and I had been speaking about her and various other people.
Without me?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. Scott is my friend, you are my acquaintance.
Thank you.
Oh, Lord.
And she just seems like a really that you could have an interesting conversation around her films, but also her body of work as a whole, maybe, and the conversation of, why don't you know her, and how could we know her better, and these kind of questions.
Yeah, and that's the question we should be putting to filmmakers. Why don't you know her? Why don't you use her? It just seemed a bit wild.
Yeah, I think it's really wild because, I mean, she is presence above presence when she's on screen. She, especially in TV work of late, so Hacks most recently, where she is tearing up the world of comedy and doing wonderful, wonderful things. She is irresistible in that show. Mayor of Easttown, she was quite something there. Watchmen from a couple of years ago, absolutely brilliant. She is consistently delivering in spades. So at least Damien Chazelle is listening. We have Babylon upcoming, his new feature about the transition period between silent cinema and the talkies. So hopefully she's got an awesome role there, because I want it now.
Yeah, and she's some sort of like fast-talking journalist or something along those lines. She'd be really cool, like Hedda Hopper or someone like that is what I'm imagining, which would very much suit her strengths as an actor. So yeah, maybe within a few weeks of this podcast going out, she'll be an Oscar nominee and we'll look foolish for saying her film work has had no impact. That would be wonderful.
I reckon that's very, very possible.
Yeah. And Daniel, where would you have first known who Jean Smart was?
Well, I wouldn't have known her as Jean Smart, I suppose. But if reflecting on it now, without a doubt, it is the television show 24. I was trying to come up with a word to describe it, but we'll just call it the television show 24. Yeah, she plays, maybe it's in season 4 or season 5, she plays the president's wife, a first lady, and it's quite, I suppose in the world of 24, quite a famous character, or not famous, but like notable, or she makes an impression. She's a very kind of unstable character that I think the audience found to be quite disruptive in kind of the narrative.
And is that related to you? I'm joking. We're acquaintances. How would I know? How would I know?
Exactly, touche. But yeah, it would be from the hit TV show 24.
I can say exactly what I want, finally, without having to worry about incurring your wrath. The great Charles Logan, the president of the universe, the great leader, the murderer.
That's amazing. Scott, what about you?
Well, I wasn't as well acquainted with the TV show 24 as Daniel, who I know spent many hours, well, 24 times how many hours of his life watching it. I don't know, actually. This one is a real puzzle for me. Looking at her filmography just now, it must have been as Eileen, Kay's friend in the Meryl Streep classic Hope Springs. No, I'm joking. I'd be lying if I said I actually remembered her in that. I think the first place I clocked her was, and knowing her as Jean Smart, was a couple of years ago watching Watchmen and being like, whoa, who's this person? And then obviously that being really solidified with Mayor of Easttown and Hacks. So I think knowing who she is, very recent, but now big fan.
Yeah. Well, I'm even worse than both of you in that it wasn't until watching Hacks and Mayor of Easttown at the same time was I like, who the hell is this woman? Then looking at her, I was gonna say portfolio of work as if she's.
You're working with her.
Looking at her, what she's done, and not obviously to everyone here, but the Brady Bunch is such a big film, say in my family, and her character is iconically thirsty for the Brady Bunch.
Mrs. Brady's lucky to have a big, strong, virile man like that. Tell you what, sweetie. Next Christmas, you tell your daddy I'd be more than happy to wrap his package.
Okay.
And always drinking, and is always very, questionable. Basically, she shouldn't be after these Brady Bunch boys the way she is, but it's very entertaining to watch, and that would have left a mark in my head. So I would have known her from that, but other than that, I probably haven't thought about her characters or her in any of the films that I had watched previously to preparing for this episode. And there's plenty that I've watched before, like A Simple Favor, or The Kid, Bruce Willis's film, or Bringing Down the House, all these films, but I'd never know she was in any of them. But what a joy, and kind of like to your point, Daniel, to be watching these films or thinking about these films and her parts in them and the performances she's given, to think like, well, why is she not getting the parts in film that she's getting in TV? Because even in small roles, like she is, winning 2 Emmys for her work in Frasier, in quite a small part in terms of the casting of that. But she's so memorable, even to someone who doesn't know Frasier or want to watch it. I was going to say just watch, but I don't want to watch it. I'll never watch Frasier. But her parts in it, I've seen those clips, they're shared online, and she's really fun and it's really entertaining. I can see why people would latch on to her.
That's gotten you far. Get off your ass and get a pen! No, not you.
I suspect those who will have had the greatest awareness of her around our age, I suppose, would be those who did happen to watch Frasier, where she was a big part and, like you say, winning all the awards. But to us, it's the massive rise now. At 70 years old, she's the hottest property in television, and I love that for her. And she's also hot at 70.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Incredibly. Again, though, this is from my Brady Bunch memory, is she is an attractive, sexy, sexual woman. And I think, yeah, you're dead right. For somebody to be carrying that in their 70s, when historically women have been kind of robbed of their sexuality and desires of that nature from, like let's think, like, if we're going back in the 30s, 40s, sure, women in their 50s wouldn't be having any sex, let alone 70s. So yeah, I love that. And we should say, one of the films, she does have sexy times with William Shatner. So she's also on the big screen, is getting that opportunity too. Whether or not that's a good thing, is up for debate.
Well, I think she should get the opportunity with her now good pal Harry Styles. They've become friends because
Yeah.
he's a big fan of Hacks and sent her flowers, and now they hang out. So maybe whilst he's having his moment this year in film, she'll play his sexy cougar.
Did you see that he also gave like a salt shaker? 'Cause this is
Yes!
storyline in
Yeah.
season 1 of Hugs, and he sent her this antique salt shaker. So that would be wonderful. I don't know if we're talking on screen or off screen, but both. I'd be
Both.
delighted if they paired up.
I mean, we could get a Harold and Maude remake of
Oh
some
my
fashion.
god, there we go.
Oh.
That's it. That's my
It
future.
doesn't have to be a strict remake, but you know the inspiration could be there.
Stolen.
Yeah, someone better be listening. That is a perfect.
That is perfect. Oh my. Oh my god. I don't know who I'm more jealous of. It's quite something. It makes my heart flutter.
Oh, easily, Jean is. I would love to be anywhere near Jean. She seems like such a nice person. She seems so much fun. Really, generous. I'm really in love with her.
Yeah. Oh my god. Any interviews around her and people say that she is the nicest person. People really love her, and oh gosh. Oh.
She might also just have a lot of dirt on people.
Yeah, we love her so much.
Yeah, she's like Harry Styles, semi-flowers or else. ...
I'm telling about all your boyfriends.
Ooh.
I wish. Come on, tell us.
Let's move to a more safer ground. I don't want any libel suits from Harry Styles.
Yeah, please.
Or his partners. Or his roommates. Do you want to give us a rundown on Jean Smart's career?
Jean
Not Jean
Smart career. Except, where are the movies at, Jean? All right, Jean was born on the 13th of September 1951 in Seattle, Washington. Really important note for us all gathered here. Her paternal grandparents were Scottish and maternal grandparents a little bit Irish. So how could I let that one slide? It felt very important to note right here. She gained an interest in acting whilst at high school in Seattle, where she took part in a drama program. She then went on to graduate from the University of Washington Professional Actors Training Program. Her acting career commenced performing in regional theatre productions around the Pacific Northwest of the US, so initially keeping things fairly close to home. In the mid-70s, she moved to New York City, where she would kick off her stage career and with some kind of off-Broadway productions amongst some other more regional productions there. In 1980, she made the fairly short trip to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to perform the role of Lady Macbeth in a production of, well, Macbeth, of course, with the Public Theatre there, returning to New York soon after to scoop up a Drama Desk Award nomination for an off-Broadway production of Last Summer of Bluefish Cove, before making the leap to Broadway, playing Marlene Dietrich in Piaf, where she would then go on to reprise that role on TV a handful of years later. The mid-80s through to early 90s then brought about her rise in film, and particularly, as we've discussed, TV. Perhaps most notably from her role in the campy favourite Designing Women from 1985, where she starred from there in 5 seasons following. She would then play Aileen Wuornos in the TV movie Overkill in 1992, and kind of going back a bit, her film debut came about in 1984's Flashpoint. She starred then in some scattered other films leading to her 1992 role alongside Robert De Niro in Mistress. 93 brought about her role in beloved Disney Dogs and Cat movie Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey, with her then going on to star in 95's Brady Bunch movie. In 1999, her role in Guinevere earned her an Indie Spirit nomination for Best Supporting Female. She then continues to flip-flop between film and TV, always striking the more notable roles in TV. 2000 saw Jean begin her role of Lana Gardner in Frasier back in her hometown of Seattle, which would lead to her winning, as we said, 2 Emmy Awards for Outstanding Guest Actress in a Comedy. 2000 also saw her receive her only Tony nomination for a Broadway revival of The Man Who Came to Dinner.
With Nathan Lane.
With Nathan Lane. Oh gosh, other podcast favourite Nathan Lane. I didn't even clock that. Thank you, Michael. The upcoming years saw her in roles in Sweet Home Alabama, Bringing Down the House, Garden State, and I Heart Huckabees. She then voiced Kim Possible's mommy in Kim Possible, the TV series, before taking on the role of the First Lady in the series 24, which saw her earn a further 2 Emmy nominations. Her third Emmy win came from her work in Samantha Who, which she starred in from 2007 to 2009. Emmys. Her following 4 Emmy noms came in Harry's Law, Fargo, Watchmen, and 2021's Mayor of Easttown. Her 4th win coming soon after that with Hacks from that same year. At the point we record this episode, she is currently nominated for that same role once again. Fingers crossed, Jean. In case you lost count though, that puts Jean at 4 wins so far, with 8 further nominations so far. Other TV work includes Big Mouth, Dirty John, Arrested Development, Legion, Veep, Hawaii Five-0, etc., etc., etc. Truly in demand in the TV world. Most recently, her film work has allowed her the privilege of being William Shatner's Far Too Sexy for Him love interest in Senior Moment from 2021. But I, for one, am madly excited for that role in the upcoming Babylon, which is surely going to get her that Oscar nomination. Come on, we're wishing it into existence. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But yeah, that's a little rundown into our Jean.
Our Jean. We'll claim her as she has Irish and Scottish heritage.
Exactly.
Well, knowing Ireland, because John C. Reilly was heading up the St. Patrick's Day parade in Dublin this year. Jean easily could be the next St. Patrick's Day leader.
Very exciting for them both.
Yeah, so if she doesn't get an Oscar nomination and has a free time, March 17th, always an invitation in Dublin for Jean.
Oh. Thank you for offering that, Michael.
So let's start this way. What performance of Jean's has made the most impact? Positive or negative, or a mixture? Daniel, as our guest, do you want to go first? What stands out to you from what we've been looking at?
To be honest, immediately it would be her TV work, especially the more recent stuff. But I think, as I kind of mentioned, I think in Hacks and in Mayor of Easttown, she's just doing kind of extraordinary work. But if I'm thinking of the filmography and what you just kind of gone through, and it's a point you mentioned earlier, Michael. I can't remember how you worded it, but you worded it really well, where it was like she maybe makes an impression, but not necessarily as Jean Smart, or you don't take that away in thinking what a great kind of Jean Smart performance. And I suppose in the way that I batch watched her films, or the bulk of her films that I wasn't familiar with for this podcast, none of them particularly made an impression, as in like, oh wow, what a performance, because I think the material maybe wasn't there, wouldn't allow for that to happen. I'm thinking of like Garden State and even like A Simple Favor and I Heart Huckabees. Like, they're funny and they're kind of engaging, and I think they do what's required of her. But I think the kind of way that she's deployed in the narrative of those films, it's not going to be probably on your top 10 takeaways of the film, of wasn't that kind of a memorable sequence. But so yeah, a long answer to your question. I would say initially it's the more recent TV work I think is extraordinarily compelling. And I do also think, which we'll maybe touch on, as Scott mentioned, the title Guinevere, I actually think she has some really kind of powerful moments in that film, where I do think if watching it in the kind of batch watch that I did for this, but if I watched it standalone, I think I would take away, there are real power in the scenes that she delivers, and particularly to kind of Sarah Polley in one of the more, climactic scenes of the film. I think, that I would take that away.
And what is it about? Because I'm sure we all feel the same, but we'll ask you as you're our guest. What is it about her work in Hacks and Mayor of Easttown which would excite you so much?
It's hard to describe. It's like, I can try. I suppose there's like a few qualities. One is like, I can like almost feel the like star like wattage like frazzling out of her. Not frazzling out of her, that makes it sound like it's coming to an end. Like illuminating out of her, beaming out of her. And it's like there's maybe something to do with the fact that in Hacks, it's like I just feel like she's this like tornado that's just like carrying the entire TV series along. But there's obviously great writing and so many other interesting performers in it. But I think she just is like carrying it on so many levels.
I'm going to stop you right there. I don't work with writers.
You don't?
No, Jimmy sent you against my wishes.
I'm gonna kill him.
No, I'm going to kill him.
Great. Well, this sucks.
Yeah, sucks. Oh, but at least you didn't waste too much time researching me.
I'm sorry, did I do something to offend you?
Other than walk those chimney sweep boots on my silk rug? No?
And in Mayor of Easttown, you know, not going toe to toe with Kate Winslet, but there's like not a charisma battle, but she completely brings that kind of star wattage that you might associate with Kate Winslet. And when you're watching her, on one hand, she's this kind of, sorry if it's offensive, but maybe like frumpy woman. You know, she's like talking about maybe her, like, I don't know, in my head, it's like a meatball sub and like a martini or a Manhattan or something. And you kind of just get the impression she maybe hasn't changed her clothes in like 4 days or like left the house. But there's still this like charisma that just like oozes out of her.
Listen to me. Fair's a strong word. Very strong. It happened twice. Okay, 3 times tops. But, you know, and the fact that I can't even remember how many should tell you all you need to know about what it meant to me.
And I just think it's so compelling to watch. But also, she's just getting to do really like diverse things across those 2 roles. Like this kind of glamorous Joan Rivers-esque persona is completely pulls apart visually and aesthetically to the character she plays in Mayor of Easttown. And one other final point, it's a bit of a kind of, you know, stream of consciousness, but would be that I think something that her performance style allows her to do really well is to like balance like a kind of like a brittleness, or like not necessarily a meanness, but like a brittle, mean bluntness with a humor. And like she can be really scathing, but then tell like something quite nice and warm and endearing at the same time. And whether that's to kind of Kate Winslet, her daughters, you know, the character played by Kate Winslet, her daughter in Mayor of Easttown, or Ava's character in Hacks, there's that like I'll shoot you down, but I actually care about you and I'll bring you back up in the next. And I don't think that's just the script. I think there's something kind of inherent in her maybe her quality as a person, but also in her performance style that lets her carry both the like, oh, you could be really mean and brittle, but you can also be really funny and warm at the same time, which I think is quite interesting to watch.
She reminds me of like a Betty Davis in terms of she can storm in and do whatever, but there's this heart pounding underneath it all and this pathos that particularly Hacks plays on very well when it comes to her. Because I agree, it's the writing, it's her co-stars, it's everything. It's like it's a platform for her to be able to play this very complex, interesting character with all these different layers to it. But also, it's not like there's a lot of moments in Hacks where it's unexpected what happens with that character, and but you believe it, and then this, you know, twist is the wrong word, but I just feel like it's a fully formed character that's part movie star, part character that is lost almost, like it doesn't have a purpose and is trying really desperately to cling on to things that they have found to give them purpose in life. And I just love it. And so I just second everything that you've just said. Is there anything you'd add, Scott, about Jean on TV and what she's got to do?
I would point anyone then to Watchmen who's not seen Watchmen, firstly because it is wildly unlike anything and there's a lot of compelling performances in that, but she just tears it up as an FBI agent. Again, it is just that wattage which Daniel's describing. She's completely irresistible to watch. She's a perfect woman of kind of that perfect age. I don't know, maybe it's just something that gay men latch onto, but she is truly one of a kind to watch. I wish for so much more of her in film. I really, really do. But with what she's doing in TV, give me more of that. Like, keep it coming, because everything is so different. Yet she's doing exactly what Daniel describes, that balancing act. I could watch her and watch her and watch her and watch her and never, ever get sick of it.
One of the reasons I will say I think there's a lot to do with the script, particularly in Hacks, is because of having watched a batch of her performances on screen with the scripts did not serve her so well, and she's applying sort of the same performance style, or is giving similar things, but the filmmakers haven't fully understood how best to utilize her. I mean, the worst example, or the worst best example, or best worst example, whichever way you're supposed to say that. Best worst example is probably Senior Moment, where she is this cool, sexy woman who's independent, knows what she wants, gives people a talking down, will not settle or compromise. But the film's not about her. It's about William Shatner being a toxic man in his whatever age he is, who loses his car because he is driving recklessly and is, putting people in danger. And we're supposed to be like, oh, this poor man.
It's just a senior moment.
Exactly. That is the sort of tone. Him and Christopher Lloyd. He has to ride the bus. He eats crap food, which Jean Smart in a weird meet cute, not weird, but an charismatic meet cute on the bus where his bag breaks and she's like,
Are you all right?
Feels like I'm riding a bucking bronco here.
It is.
So sorry. Oh.
No, it's all right. Oh, your bag tore.
I'm
oh,
tore the
dearie.
holes.
You know what? I have an extra bag. Put everything in here.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Potassium sorbate azocarbonates. Soy lecithin, datum natural, artificial flavors, preserved calcium phosphate. I am starting to salivate. This is to die for.
Making fun of my honey buns.
The way they continue their relationship is she owns a coffee shop restaurant place. He comes for some food. She tells him a story about her cuckoo clock and that if it ever chimes again, she'll find true love. He fixes the clock. I'm not sure he even appreciates what he's doing, like if he's trying to lure her in. And then she in the most over the top, not deserved sort of reaction ever, Jean Smart is bawling her eyes out about this cuckoo clock.
I'll meet my one and only
When the cuckoo strikes. Don't say it!
And then it continues for another it felt like a long time.
Oh, a
probably
long
was
time.
only 45. Yeah. Anyway, and there's misunderstandings, including the classic, I saw you with a man undressed, but he's gay, so it doesn't really matter. It's all just very kind of not good. But she is doing everything, she is working hard in this film, and she's fine, but you can really tell the difference between that, say, and Hacks, where the people making that show understand her, understand what she can deliver, what she can bring to a project. Hacks wouldn't exist without her, but her performance wouldn't exist without everyone else. Is how I feel about that project. That feels very kind of necessary to have all parts of it involved.
Yeah, no.
Her.
Yeah, definitely. I think the part of the joy of her TV work is that she's making amazing choices and reliable choices, I suppose. HBO-driven projects, the three that we're talking about in particular, from most recently. So a lot of money and good people behind them. But yeah, Senior Moment, she's very fun to watch again because she is doing this there's tremendous warmth coming off of her, but it is just that the script is so clumsy and dull. And I mean, come on, she is gorgeous, and then it's William Shatner. It's oh god, this is just the most. Please do better for her, because this film only came out last year, and I'm thinking maybe it's something that had been simmering for a while and was just done, and now she'll be like, fuck doing that again. Jesus, I'm worth so much more than going into these film projects now. Bring on Damien Chazelle. Come on, take me to the Oscar stage, darling. Yeah, it's Senior Moment. I would encourage people to just leave it be in this sort of unseen realm it currently sits in.
And then, it's kind of spoiled for choice, but the opposite of that, or not spoiled for choice, because Simple Favor is a movie I love.
Yeah,
absolutely
love it.
Was very excited about. Was a little bit disappointed when it first came out, and it didn't kind of connect with audiences the way that it could have. It's a very exciting thriller from Paul Feigg, who would be better known for directing Bridesmaids, with Blake Lively being this the epitome of a glamorous woman, and Anna Kendrick perfectly cast as the very kind of irritatingly like obsessive sort of woman who takes a shine to Blake Lively. Things go a bit chaotic, and Anna Kendrick is on a journey, let's say, to get some solutions. And there's other twists and turns, which I wouldn't want to tell any more of the story. But Jean Smart in it, in my head, I was like, oh, maybe I'll rewatch this and I'll be like, yes, she's so good in this scene. So she plays the mother of Blake Lively, and Anna Kendrick visits her, pretending to be a cleaner, to try and get information. But again, it's kind of not anyone, but a lot of people could have played that scene, and it could have been equally as effective, if perhaps more so. But I don't know, maybe one of you will feel differently about her moment.
I disagree. I know what you're saying. I think many people could have done that. I won't take that away. But I think she's still wonderful to watch, even though it's only like 5 minutes. There's that moment where she turns up at the door, and the door just kind of creaks open a little bit, and you see these pink fingernails come out. And then as soon as she starts talking, I'm like, yay, here she is.
So, your daughter Faith, she had some trouble, I gather?
Troubles. Would have been a vacation. Oh, that child came straight from hell.
That's a very strong statement for a mother.
Are you a mother?
Yes. I love every minute of it.
Aw. Then you must have brain damage.
I obviously wish for so much more of her, but I did enjoy what she was bringing.
I agree, especially when you can see her moving her wig in that way. It's because you think it and you're like, that's, oh my gosh, like, why are the filmmakers? And then you're like, oh, I see. We're supposed to be aware. We are signaled to that this is a wig. And that line, it really makes me laugh when she's like, it's not particularly funny, but I don't know why it makes me chuckle when she's like sniffing the bottle and she's like,
Would you like some sherry?
Oh, no, thank you. You're very sweet.
Wait, that's not sherry, that's the gin.
maybe it's because it's something like I feel like I would say. But
It's very you. Fetch me a sherry.
And she has such a glamorous, like, old-fashioned portrait of herself in the room where she's sitting. And, you know, I guess she is perfectly cast in terms of being Blake Lively's mother.
Yeah.
Because you need somebody equally as glamorous, although in that scenario that Jean's character is in a former years, perhaps. But to see this glamorous, like, portrait, you're like, yeah, this is fun. But it is short-lived. Although any excuse to watch A Simple Favor.
Yeah.
Totally.
Oh no, because like it's wonderful stuff going on there. Blake Lively is so great in this. Anna Kendrick, like you said, perfectly cast. And even though this film came out in 2018, the rise of the mummy bloggers has only grown and grown, and her capturing what's that like, because I find it makes me itchy, the sort of the rise of the mommy blogger thing, and what that can look like and what sort of culture that can create. She is living it and bringing it, and I think it makes the film only more exciting and funny and fun to watch now. It's a riot. I mean, it's really on the nose, twisty thriller, but it knows what it's doing and it's delivering it.
completely agree.
But yeah, I really love it, and I love that the characters are all unpleasant, which is another thing actually about Jean Smart as a person and as a person.
No, she is not pleasant. Think about it.
No, as her personality on screen, like in Hacks, or even watching clips of 24 and all these sorts in Frasier, she is not going for likability, and that's one thing I really love about A Simple Favor. Like, it understands these people are not nice, none of them.
Yeah, but whereas that can often be a difficult get into a film, in this it makes it all the more delicious.
When listening to interviews with Jean, she does mention mostly TV, but there's like two films in particular she has mentioned, and one is Garden State, which she talks about people coming up to her and there being this fan base for, which, like, I remember, I guess 10 years ago, like, Garden State was the sort of movie people, like, absolutely loved and talked about and cherished, which probably understandably for a lot of different reasons, has calmed down now. It's not the movie of the moment in the 2020s. But I had, again, totally forgotten she was in it. And I really enjoyed watching her parts in it. I wish there was more of her. I also, because I love Peter Sarsgaard in it, and I would have loved more with him and her together.
Yeah. She is, I think earlier when you were asking about which kind of film performance stands out the most, she is again barely here, but I think it's this one because again it's that perfect balance of the kind of brittle and unlikable but here quite exceptional warmth. Where she's playing Peter Sarsgaard's mother, the dynamic is very, very peculiar. They're sitting getting stoned in our first introduction to them. But she is really, really delightful. I think the film would have been a lot better had they had focused a lot more on that dynamic and them and her being more involved in their life.
Oh, you guys, don't stay in here all day, because I took the batteries out of the carbon monoxide detector. It was beeping all night.
Maybe we should also run down for those who perhaps haven't seen Garden State. It's Zach Braff's written and directed. I think it was his directorial debut, actually. And at the time it came out, was very beloved by a lot of critics. It made it onto a lot of lists at the time. Empire praised it as one of the best directorial debuts, which is wild with hindsight, but at the time people were excited about it. And it is a sort of typical of the sort of early to mid-noughties indie romance. Zach Braff leaves LA to go home for his mother's funeral, falls in love with the kooky Natalie Portman, and ventures around the town, wonders whether he'll go back to LA as he continues to fall in love. Yes, it is that there's a moment in it where Natalie Portman makes this noise where she's just proving just how kooky she is. Oh god, and it just makes my toes curl. Oh,
wasn't this the film where the pixie dream girl, like that? This is what it's attached to. Which, for those who don't know, is like basically a man usually in their like 20s, 30s who's a bit lost in their what they got existential crisis mode. They bump into a girl, usually younger than them, usually with something that will make them kooky, which in Garden State is that Natalie Portman's character is neurodiverse, so not aged very well, and she does lots of things. She wears a special helmet to get in on her bike, is it? She buries her animal. She like is treated a certain way with her family in the dynamic, but yeah, like that sort of character, which could also be like she's not like the other girls in that she wears trousers, not little skirts. Like it could be as simple as that to as dramatic as they have cancer. There's so many examples of this pixie dream girl. But yeah, I feel like that was the beginning of the end of like Garden State in terms of a wider cultural moment when people started picking things like that apart. But I remember watching it when I was young thinking, oh my god, if I was to make a movie as good as this, I'd be delighted.
Wow, okay, so it did land on you like that too. What was your journey with Garden State, Daniel?
I think I'd seen it before, but I can't really remember. Excuse me. In fact, yeah, no, I'm fairly certain I had seen it before, but I had zero recollection of it. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it's not particularly like my cup of tea. But I enjoyed watching it. It was fine. And I totally can see the value at the time that like the like directorial style and like where that film would have sat in like the market and in like the wider like cultural conversation. It would have been like really exciting. But yeah, looking on it, with my personal taste and in 2022, it's not like one I'm gonna like be buying on DVD and like add into my collection or anything. And I think in terms of the character Jean portrays and the way that she does it in her performance, I do agree with you, Scott. If there was an added element of that, but I mean that's always a pet peeve of mine of thinking, I wish a film did more of this or whatever, because I would never end. I would always be wanting films to do something else. But I enjoyed watching her in it, and it does actually sit kind of as a parallel in my head to I Heart Huckabees in terms of like character, just sort of a few key sequences sitting around a dining table or something, and kind of engaging a bit with the central characters, but not really, and kind of offering some kind of contribution that maybe spurs the narrative along in a little sense. But they're not. She just feels underused in a sense, like what she's giving her all, and it's kind of interesting and compelling to watch at the time. But I'm like, I want more of this in a different fashion, in like an alternate universe of like you can switch, almost like Big Brother or something. You can turn off that camera and watch another one. Like when the camera in the film leaves that room, I'm like, no, I want the camera to stay in that room and let Zach Braff go, but let's just keep watching her. But your I wish list will always be inevitable.
It's wild. She has a lot of scenes at dinner tables, like in The Kid or at tables. She's literally there to help Bruce Willis along.
Why wouldn't your 8-year-old self time travel here to give you a hand? I mean, you're obviously in trouble. He could straighten you out.
You think he's here to straighten me out?
Oh, of course. You didn't think it was the other way around, did you?
And she's just this kind of there as a device to just help the plot along. And again, it's like, I mean, I haven't fully rewatched The Kid since I was a child myself, but I was a bit like, this isn't a good use of somebody like Jean Smart.
No.
So yeah, it is a shame. I do love in Guinevere.
We're going with Guinevere.
Guinevere, her dinner table chat where her child has by Sarah. Oh my God, Sarah Polly, right? That's her child.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you say it. Sarah Polly. My God, Polly is nobody. I don't know. In my head, Polly's her name, and that's it. Oh my God, Sarah Polly. It's her birthday, and Jean Smart was like, they didn't have any birthday cake, but here's some fortune cookies. And then she plays a game of like.
Last week at the firm, a couple of women did this. After you read your fortune out loud, add the words "in bed" to the end of it. You'll see, it's funny.
And they go around, and you're like, what sort of behavior is this? But at least unlike those other examples we're talking, like in Guinevere, she is a catalyst in a more meaningful way. Like, it's really fun to watch her, and although again I want to spend more time with that character, and it made me want to see a version of that story, which we've gotten plenty of times, of a well-to-do suburban or whatever housewife with children, whatever, and all these kind of grand dreams, like Annette Bening in American Beauty, but to see Jean Smart in that sort of part, because she nailed it so well in this. It doesn't surprise me this is her only film role that's been nominated for an award.
Well, hold on, I have to correct that because hold on.
Bringing down.
No,
Homeward Bound.
No, she was nominated for the Movie Guide Awards, and she was the Grace Award winner for Most Inspiring Performance in... Oh no, it's television. Screw that! I thought it was a film for a shoe addict's Christmas, but I thought it was... Maybe it's a TV film.
That sounds like something I would watch. That sounds like a Christmas Hallmark movie that I will watch.
Most Inspiring Performance, though. But tell me, should I watch Guinevere? I never watched it. Daniel, what do you make of her work in Guinevere?
Yeah, I love her work in Guinevere.
Oh yeah.
Stick. Yeah, I think she's amazing. I love watching her in that. There's like, it's just, if you ever like to see like a dressing down that's kind of quite intense, and it's like the story of it, I suppose, as Michael said, her daughter, played by Sarah Polley, is in a relationship with this kind of older photographer, and Jean Smart's character is maybe not particularly pleased with that, but I don't think it's necessarily the age that's the issue. I think there's a lot of like class and other things going on, and he's sort of like the line she says when she kind of visits them in his apartment, and she kind of says, she's like, she like lights a cigarette as she says it, and she sort of just goes from stage to stage to stage, picking the relationship apart.
Now that I look at you, I really don't know how you pull it off. But then I'm more superficial than Harper. Looks have always been important to me.
You don't like me very much, do you?
You're older than I am, and you're fucking my daughter. What's to like?
And she kind of says, I have a theory.
So, then what is a man of your age doing with my 21-year-old daughter? It'd be easy enough to say you're afraid of mature women, but that's so glib. Afraid of what, exactly? So I kept thinking. And then it hit me. I know exactly what she has that I haven't got. Awe. I mean, no real woman, no woman of experience would ever stand in front of you with awe in her eyes.
And it's like, ouch! I'm like, that,
Yeah.
like, I feel like wounded listening to you saying that. And then she kind of, just maybe exhales her smoke. And then I can't remember what she says, but she turns to Sarah Polly's character and she kind of like holds her face. And like the shot's actually quite like interesting to look at. For that kind of like, a film that maybe is a bit chaotic and some like kind of other formal qualities, i.e. the music. And she's kind of looking into Sarah Polly's face. I don't remember what she says, but there was a moment when I was watching and I was like, what's going on here? There's like a lot of not necessarily subtext, but like there's a weird energy between the two of them, and it's maybe kind of sexual, or there's like something, and I think it's to do with this like not a resentment, but I think there's something going on about the her character's frustration, and I do think there's some element of resenting her daughter being in this more kind of free-spirited relationship, and it's something she's not going to be able to achieve. So it comes out in this kind of cruel exchange, and she kind of gives her daughter a kiss in the cheek, and she says something, but it's gone from my memory what it was. And it's kind of a small, in terms of screen time, moment within that within the film, but oh my gosh, I thought it was so powerful. I was riveted watching it because he thought, just looking at her in her like the the outfit, how she's costumed, and her hair and her makeup style, and you just think, oh, I wouldn't want to be her friend, but I'm really enjoying watching her pick apart this relationship and really just tell truths. It reminded me of, from your previous podcast discussion, Meryl Streep in August Osage County, where she's kind of just going through all the characters, and then she's like, I'm just truth telling, truth telling antagonizes folks. It's that kind of like, she's just saying it as there's no consequence for her. She doesn't give a shit what they think about her, so she's just going to say it and then leave.
And it's also that she's saying all this, exactly as you say, but there's this layer of, like we mentioned before, like this kind of insecurity or something underneath all of this, which is making everything like hyper electric to watch, which sadly doesn't exist in a lot of the rest of the film, where she is like, jealous, and she's also, you can see she's also lured into it, and is also maybe appreciating what her daughter's doing, but she's achieving all of this while mostly just dressing down everybody in the room. It's really great to watch.
Oh, well, I know it wasn't your intention, but I am still kind of sold on it, so maybe I will get there.
Oh no, watch it.
I would say watch it, because it's just it is a peculiar film, and I don't want to keep speaking about it, forever, but I do think there's like something, and I think you'd maybe mentioned, Michael, that it was nominated for a screenplay award for something, I think, and I can see that. Like, I feel like there is like something of like real like substance that's kind of like scratching to try and get out from underneath the music, and maybe some of the editing choices and some of the cinematography, where it almost feels like an episode of like Charmed or something, like some kind of like TV show from like the 90s or 2000s, and it's like you can see the like framework under that and the kernels of really good ideas. And I think a lot of that lives in the screenplay and in some of the performances. So I think for that and Jean alone, I would recommend watching it a bit.
And to be an Audrey Wells completist, because she only got to make 2 films as a writer-director.
Yeah, and Under the Tuscan Sun is this podcast's favourite film of all time, so...
Exactly. Well, I'm not joking.
No?
I think that might be true.
Yeah, we've done it.
And before we go into a quiz, is there any other Jean Smart performances or anything you want to give shout-outs to that we've not covered?
No, I don't think so. I mean, because this is kind of the problem at the center of this like question, or not the center, the question of Jean, is that I don't feel I like it. She's not like, a Meryl or a Kate Blanchett or a Tilda or a Julianne or whatever that you could be like, "Roo," and go through their filmography and speak for hours and hours and hours about so many performances, even from more obscure ones. It's like, yeah, she's very oddly divided from like the film to the TV, and I can't think of any other. Like it was a struggle even, at the beginning of thinking what films we watch. I'm thinking I don't know what she's in, and you look at her filmography and you go, forgot about that, forgot about that, forgot about that, forgot about that, and struggle to come up with others other than maybe to encourage people to go back and watch 24. I have a feeling you don't like 24, Michael, but I would encourage you to watch it.
Is she a riot in 24, Daniel?
She is, just because she's really like, I think the first sequence, the first one of the first scenes where you meet her, and that's what I think sort of throws off, and you think, oh, this character's going to be a problem, is where she's kind of getting all dressed up, and she's got her hair and her makeup done or whatever, and you think, oh, she looks really pretty, she looks nice, oh, she's been really nice to her staff, she kind of gives her a little smile or something, and then immediately she just like dunks her face in the sink full of water.
It looked like a wedding cake. Let's start over.
And you're like, oh, like, a first lady probably shouldn't do that. Like, you're a danger to like the image of the president and what it represents in the context of it. And there's so many other things. Like, there's stabbings that she, causes. She like is really violent. She's obviously unwell. Like, there's definite mental illness and alcoholism and everything. But to watch her, it's like a real mini tour de force of like a very chaotic character. And she, like, catatonic, is that the right word, where you don't know who you're going to get? One time she's very mellow and nice and you think that's going to break and you're going to want to hurt someone, and then the next time you enter and she is hurting someone. And yeah, I would say go back and watch it. But I mean, my ringtone is the 24 CTU ringtone, so I've clearly not quite given up that TV show.
Well, we love it for you.
For all its problems.
And why do you think she hasn't had as big of a film career as her TV career? Because it's not as if her TV career ever stalled or anything. She seems to have been celebrated for years and years, and it's like, celebrated as part of the fabric of American TV, and that it hasn't translated, even as like movie stars were coming into TV and it was much more fluid, the exchange. It does seem a bit mad to me.
I think I agree with you, and I think it probably is maybe like two or three things, but I suppose we'll never know. Like, one thing I think about is maybe she just didn't want it in a sense, but then I also think, is it like a technical thing of like her agent or her management? Like, were they pushing for the right things, or was she advocating, or was she not that fussed to get certain roles, or or not even to get the roles, but for it to be an option to carve out that kind of career? And I do think, like, based on what we've spoken about in, about Hacks and Mare of Easttown, in the smaller role she has in films, I think there's something about what she's able to do as a performer and kind of hold different ideas at the same time that you can't do as well when you've got 8 minutes of screen time in a 2-hour film or something, but you can do when you're the lead, or even like in Mare of Easttown, a supporting player in, an 8-part miniseries or what have you. So I don't know. I'm always a bit like, I sort of like balk at saying that, like, you get like TV performance styles and film performance styles, but there's maybe qualities of a performer that are more suited to TV and more suited to film. And I think she's clearly got the skill set that's suited to TV, but I think in the way that TV has changed and how we understand TV moving from, the likes of, Frasier and Designing Women to Hacks and Mare of Easttown, which, especially Mare of Easttown, that pretty much, by standards of 10, 15 years ago, that what is a film really, but, by our, it's not episodic in the sense that each episode contains like its own self-contained resolved storyline. So she's really given 8 hours or 6 hours or whatever to drag out this character. And I think that's what her skill set allows her to do. So I think until she gets sort of substantial dramatic or comedic, but substantial dramatic roles in films that kind of can live up to her abilities, I think it's not going to be there. So yeah, it's maybe a mixture of things. It's, maybe not the right time. I feel like on one hand she's like a forgotten film star, but not in the sense that like, she's lost in the distant past. It's like someone's forgotten to take her, like she's been left behind. It's like someone forgot to like carve out, like to make a space on the shelf for her and recognize that the value she has. It just doesn't really fit, so she'll just stay in TV. But now, because the landscape shifted, kind of considerably in terms of the content that's made and where it's, you know, disseminated. I think that she's got that space on the shelf now, if you like.
Well, we can name the problem Meryl Streep. Because I think, no, but thinking of the parts that she could get, like, for instance, Dowd, Devil Wears Prada, August Osage County, Jean would be amazing in any of those parts.
You're not wrong.
And I was thinking exactly to your point of, like, what are these roles that she could have been playing? When I say she, I could also be inclusive of so many actors of a certain age, like Cherry Jones, who did Doubt on stage. And I understand Meryl also guarantees box office, and so there's a reason you would do that. But I would love to see Jean Smart in any of those three parts. I could save the Iron Lady. We can leave that with Meryl. That's fine.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and based on her Camilla, Jean Smart's Camilla, maybe she's not cut out for that kind of representative storytelling.
How did it take us an hour to mention that she played Camilla Parker Bowles alongside Victor Garber, I think, as Prince Charles in a Hallmark movie? It's wild.
And also, Terry Jones was in 24, so that's just another thing that she plays the president, so love it.
And she's the president of the president's wife? Are they together?
No, I wish. Sorry, no, in a different
That would be hot.
Oh my God,
what was it? Who said that Jean Smart had great taste in TV? Let's point to the Hallmark movie.
And I'm sure it's a great film that I'm going to watch later. Bring on Camilla.
Yeah, do you know what? It's hard to find clips of it. The royal family must have banned it or something in the UK. I couldn't find a clip.
God, I wish. I would just say, even when this film career is a little peppered with oddities, the versatility she displays, whether she's in a scene or a film, I should say, for 1 minute or 10 minutes, I think is also extraordinary, and that is just why I want more.
Yes, co-signed.
Co-signed too. How could I disagree? We can, as much Jean as we can get on our screens now that she's had her Renaissance. Somebody I read somewhere.
Renaissance.
Renaissance, that's much nicer.
Yeah, yours was grubby sounding.
She's had a Renaissance.
Okay, so as we're doing a series on TV stars, I wanted to quiz you guys in a competition which I'm going to call EGOT or not.
Oh. Okay.
So an EGOT, for those who do not know, is somebody who has the 4 major American awards: an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony. As you've already mentioned, Jean is not an EGOT currently. She does have 4 Emmys though.
Yeah.
And has been nominated for a Tony. And she has talked about wanting to return to theatre. So who knows? Maybe she can also get a Tony quick. Get an Oscar for Babylon, then do an audiobook and get a Grammy very quick. So I'll be super.
Perfect.
So I have a roundabout structure, but I'm going to go with it. I'm going to give you each a pair, and you have to tell me who is an EGOT or both, or maybe none. And we'll take it from there. And there is a tiebreaker if we get to it.
Okay. Not so sure, but off you pop.
Who would like to go first?
Daniel.
And you will get a point for every correct answer.
Okay.
And I will give you a bonus point if you can say what they've won the awards for, but that seems wild.
Especially for Grammy, as you mentioned, it'll all be like some weird recording.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so Daniel, the 2 I'm giving you are a sister act pair: Maggie Smith and Whoopi Goldberg.
Okay, well, I know Whoopi is an EGOT. I don't know about Maggie Smith. Just Whoopi, I'm saying.
Correct. Maggie does not have a Grammy, which seems wild. I mean, she could easily get a Grammy if she wanted to, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, get one, Maggie.
Do you want to give it a code to know how Whoopi's got her EGOT.
Well, she got her Oscar, of course, for Ghost.
What a win. What a win.
I feel like her Tony Award might be for production, but maybe I'm just making that up. I don't think it was in an acting category, but I could be wrong. Maybe like directing or writing or production or something. Emmy. Well, I think Grammy will be like a comedy album, probably.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. Emmy. Oh, jeez. Oh, fuck. No, I don't know. No, I pass on Emmy, sorry.
Oh, she has 2 Emmys and one was for The View.
Of course.
Really
darn it,
was.
yes.
I'm going to guess another one was probably like a Red Nose Day special, like a comedy thing, no? Like SNL type
that's
thing.
a special award, yeah, which whether or not we include that as an EGOT, but she's already has 2 other Emmys. So she won one for a special class special is the name of it, a standing special class special, Beyond Tara, The Extraordinary Life of Hattie McDaniel, which I'm sure is terrific. Okay, Scott. So we're going with 2 great actors with the same surname but are in no way related, Katharine Hepburn and Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah, Audrey, yes, Katharine, no.
Correct. Can you tell us Audrey's wins?
Fuck no. Hold on, let me think. Oscar for Roman Holiday. Grammy for not singing on My Fair Lady. I don't know. Tony, maybe for, I don't know, was it for something like that? I don't think she was. No, she wasn't in My Fair Lady because it was Julie Andrews. An Emmy for. I literally have no idea, so there's no point in me just waffling on.
That's all right. You're totally right. Roman Holiday. She won. In 54, she wins Best Actress in a Play for Ondine. So she had a very kind of coronation moment in film and theatre. Emmy, she had won an Outstanding Individual Achievement Informational Programming. And that it sounds like she's going to do something very serious, but it's for Gardens of the World with Audrey Hepburn, which sounds
sounds gorgeous, actually.
It sounds as good as Judi Dench talking to trees.
Yeah, exactly. Sign me up.
And then she won Best Spoken Word Album for Children, Audrey's Enchanted Tales, which sounds also lovely.
Okay, very sweet. Sorry for being so mean.
So Daniel,
Yes.
you're neck and neck.
Okay.
Always. Bloody
And now I have a musical theatre duo for you, Daniel.
Okay.
Julie Andrews and Jennifer Hudson.
I know Jennifer Hudson is at EGOT. No, I think it's just Janet. It's just J Hud.
Just J Hud. Correct. Do you know J Hud's?
It's going to be Emmy again. That'll trip me up. So Tony, I think, was recently for In the Loop or The Loop or something.
A Strange Loop, yeah.
Strange Loop, that's it. Oscar, of course, Dreamgirls. Grammy will be like an album, maybe. I don't know, like R&B or something. I don't know.
R&B album. She also has a musical theatre album for The Colour Purple.
Oh God, of course, love it. Emmy. Is she a host of anything? No, she's never won. No.
I don't know what this is.
No, pass.
She won Outstanding Interactive Media for a Daytime Program, Baba Yaga, which sounds great. Don't know what it is.
It's called what?
I don't know.
I thought you said
when we do
Baba
our Jennifer
Yaga
Hudson podcast, we'll do. It is that's written down.
Okay. I was like, what the hell did he just say?
And can you guess what one Julie Andrews doesn't have? Which award?
Tony?
Yeah, she hasn't won a Tony. And for her last nomination for Victor Victoria, because the production wasn't nominated elsewhere, she didn't accept her nomination.
Yeah, love
like
it.
the badass she is. Yeah, love that.
That's
Oh,
like
she
the
would
good
be-
way of how you do a Katherine Heigl, of like the opposite for her. Material isn't good enough for me. Okay, fuck you, Shonda Rhimes.
Yeah.
Oh, Catherine. Mistakes all around. Poor her.
So we're continuing with the musical theatre duo, and you're going to have Liza Minnelli and Rita Moreno. Scott, this is for you.
Ooh. Gosh, I don't know. So I'm just going to go bold and say both. Wrong, neither.
Well, you get a point for Rita Moreno. So she is EGOT. Do you want to give it a shot what she might be an EGOT for?
Sure, let's have a go. So Oscar for West Side Story, of course.
Of course.
Grammy for West Side Story. Probably won Best Song, actually. No, not her number. A song from West Side Story probably did win Best Song that year at the Grammys.
I think you're just focusing way too much on one product. She won her Tony for The Ritz, which was then turned into a film with her, which is set in this. I think it's set in a gay bathhouse, or it's in a place where a lot of gay people are. I don't know, but it's a very campy film. So I imagine the stage shows even more so. She has 2 Emmys, one for The Muppet Show as a supporting actress.
Gorgeous.
In a music variety show. And then for the Rockford Files, she won Outstanding Lead Actress for a single appearance in a drama or comedy series.
Oh.
And her Grammys for Best Recording for Children, The Electric Company.
Oh, okay. Congratulations, Rita.
Liza is not an official EGOT because she got an honorary Grammy.
Oh, so fuck you, I was right.
Well, she's not, but
no.
She's not top tier in terms of.
Okay,
I mean, she's in good company of who else is in this. But she won a Grammy Legend Award. While she hasn't got a Grammy, a competitive Grammy, maybe that's still to come. But she has 4 Tony Awards. Obviously an Oscar for Cabaret. One Emmy for Liza with a Z. So she doesn't need a Grammy. Okay, so now this is a tiebreaker. You're evens. I think you're going to have to answer at the same time because I didn't expect us to get to this point. 2 musical theatre legends who have also extensively worked in film and TV, whether that adaptation or new stuff. Andrew Lloyd Webber and Stephen Sondheim.
Just Andrew Lloyd Webber.
What do you say, Scott?
I think both of them.
Our winner is Daniel. Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Sondheim does not have an Emmy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I remember reading that in some of his kind of, eulogies and memoriams and things.
What? They didn't focus on the achievements. They were like,
yeah,
he
no,
never won an Emmy.
It was like he never made it to EGOT. You would think he did, but it was stuck in
Oh, I see. Well, as someone who's watched the Bette Midler Gypsy TV movie, I appreciate they didn't reward that. Although she probably won, actually. I take it back. It's just not great. There will be a better version of Gypsy, I'm sure, but not that one.
Don't tell Barbara.
We never did. Don't tell Barbara. Don't tell Glenn about Sunset Boulevard. When are these women of a certain age in musical theatre vehicles going to happen? If we can have Cats and Tick Tick Boom and all these things, why can we not just have Sunset Boulevard with Glenn Close or Gypsy with Babs? Why not?
Who?
Barbara Streisand.
Don't know them.
Here we go. Is Barbara Streisand an EGOT, Scott?
Yes.
She's not.
She is. Fucking is.
Actually, she is, sorry.
Yeah, I thought she was.
I'm like, no.
Sorry, there's a knife at the back of my thing. It's from her team. She definitely is an EGOT. Okay, congratulations. We never picked a prize, so your prize will be to come back another time to the podcast.
I would be honoured.
Maybe we can talk about someone with a pure film track record where it's just film after film after film.
Yeah.
I know, yeah, that's good. I'll come back and do someone that's like not a reliable TV performer.
There we go. Unreliable on TV, but shit hot on
I
film.
look like a ferocious film actor. That's what I want.
Ooh, I like that. That should be the name of our podcast, Ferocious Film Actors.
But I mean, all I want to come back and do is Neve Campbell, so I'm not really sure.
Well, why not? That sounds
Ferocious
like a good...
film
Or
actor.
Neve Campbell, I should say.
Oh my God.
Exactly. So we've written her off already. Just kidding.
So, as our guest, do you want to tell us what you'd like or what you'd wish for Jean Smart in her future career? What is your one... I was going to say desperate, but it can be desperate. Your one desperate desire for Jean Smart.
I actually know exactly what it is. I had to think about it for a tiny bit, but it came to me within like 2 minutes. Because I think about these kind of scenarios a lot with this particular director. It would be Pablo Larraín, and she would be in a Hillary biopic for like the day before and the day of the 2016 election. And it would be in his typical style where there wouldn't be the baggage of her having to be Hillary. She could like be like a Spencer version, like a Kristen Stewart version of Diana. And I think she would I could totally see that. I think she could bring that. I just think, it came to me and I thought, yep, her as Hillary in like a artistic 2-hour-long biopic, but not really. It just covers a 36-hour period of her having to wait and wait and wait to see if she will concede, and then she has to deliver that speech, and I cry. So that's my pick.
Oh my God!
It's her in Rodham.
That's called. That is literally
Jackie,
perfect.
Spencer and Rodham. She'll get an Oscar.
Okay,
I love it.
That's amazing. I mean, that's a heavenly selection. I don't even think I want to share mine because it feels subpar in comparison now.
No.
Okay. Are you going to do a Pablo Larraín Camilla story?
How did you know? No, I'm joking. Mine's was, it's not dissimilar, but it was like, if we can get Adam McKay to do something brilliant, I can imagine Jean Smart being really wonderful within that sphere, because when he hits, I think he hits very well. And I was thinking about, the downfall of a bumbling, terrible president. Well, I don't know, perhaps a Trump sort, and then she plays Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi sort. I just think we could have a wonderful tale, but then actually focus on Nancy and not on the others around. That's where I went. But now if we rewind to the beginning where Daniel suggested a Harold and Maude, I'm thinking yes to that, but now that Todd Field has finally returned and he's bringing out Tar this year, and we haven't seen him since 2006's Little Children, let's have Todd Field's remake of Harold and Maude with Jean Smart and Harry Styles having a great time.
Oh, I love that. Mine is notably different, let's say. I think something about Jean Smart, she's very strong-willed. She knows what she's about. She's very confident. Would play really well in a screwball-type comedy. And she clearly loved working with Paul Feig in A Simple Favor. So I was thinking she could play, they could maybe not update, but any of those sorts of Katharine Hepburn, Spencer Tracy, Cary Grant sort of films, where she is playing a woman, she knows what she wants. Her goal is it can be a man, but it's also career, and it's also orientated around somebody along the lines of Steve Martin, or somebody who's a bit hapless, doesn't know what he's doing, and is caught in this tornado, which is this glorious performance by the charismatic Jean Smart. I think that would be really fun and lovely, and I would rush to the cinema to watch it.
I'll be there too.
Yeah, absolutely.
There'll be a staircase, there'll be glamorous outfits, there'll be big hats. This is the sort of vibe I'm after.
And that's just what we'll be wearing to the cinema.
Yeah.
Just descending to our seats. We're in row 6H. 6H. Whatever. No, H6 and 7.
They'd be sit wherever you want. And take your hat off.
It's not assigned seating.
Yeah, we're not seated by class.
I love it.
Oh, wonderful selection.
Or we could remake Titanic and she plays the mother character still with Kate Winslet. I'd love that.
Or she plays the ship.
Or the hat.
Or the iceberg. I think she'd be amazing.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, on that note, I think all these things are going to happen. She'll win the Oscar for Babylon.
Yay!
She'll get...
Battle
so she'll get her Emmy, or she has an Emmy, she'll get her Grammy, Oscar, Tony, be an EGOT, and then can do all the roles that we've planned for her.
But yay!
It'll be super.
Ideal.
Well, thank you, Daniel, for joining us again.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
And Scott, where can people find us?
You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at don'tknowher_pod. Or if you fancy dropping us an email, you can get us at don'tknowherpod@gmail.com.
And please do rate, review us. It really helps other people find us. Also, you can give us a tip or buy us a coffee. That's all set up now if you'd like to do that.
I love a wine.
Coffee and... yeah. He's not joking. No.
I'll have a double Grey Goose club soda, the juice of 3 lemons, carcass out.
Yeah, it's expensive being Scott's friend on a night out.
Boy, it is.
I don't know where I'm going now. Where have I lost my train of thought?
Tip us.
So yeah, please, as we do ask, do share on with one person you think may enjoy this episode or another episode. We talk about all sorts of great actors. Recently, Jeffrey Wright, Annette Bening, and yeah, please join us next time where we're talking about another super celebrated TV star who we wish had more films in their portfolio. I'm going to use that word again because I think it sounds sweet.
Gorgeous.
And it actually works for this person and the type of characters they play. Ooh. She would carry her portfolio around a lot.
Is it Tyra Banks?
Yes!
Oh my god, Tyra! How did you know? Well, great. Well, thank you again, Daniel. Thank you, Scott, as usual. And we'll see you next time. Well, we won't see you. You'll hear us. And we'll be pretending you're little eyes in our mind. I don't know what.
Because you all have beady little eyes out there. Just kidding. Everyone who listens has beautiful eyes. Have a lovely day wherever you are. Bye-bye-bye.
Goodbye, my friend. Goodbye, my acquaintance.
Bye, acquaintance. Bye.